With the holidays right around the corner, can you think of anything better to stuff a stocking with than an ultra politically incorrect shirt, hoodie, or mug, pretty much guaranteed to bring any snowflake in your immediate area to leftist meltdown mode? Today's featured shirts are, hell no you're not taking my AR-15.
Hell yes, we're gonna take your AR-15, your AK-47.
Hell no you're not, beta male. Make our guns illegal and we'll just declare them undocumented and keep calm and return fire. Your purchase not only gets you a kick-ass design from one of the hardest hitting stores on the planet, it also supports the distribution of more uncompromising content. The link to your holiday stocking stuffers is in the description and in the pinned comment. All politicians lie. All people who hold political office, even though they deny they're politicians, lie. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. Matter of fact, if you say politics and lie in the same sentence, well, you're just repeating yourself. The very concept of government is a lie based on a mountain of lies, and the so-called officials in government are in the business of lying and propaganda peddling to keep the masses enslaved in the cognitive dissonance that tells them, you gotta trust the politicians that you know are lying, or the world as you know it will be consumed in flames and slide off into the ocean. Government is a constant mind control technique conducted daily on the human lab rat population. As long as they continue to believe it, the rats happily run along in their little mazes, performing their duties of acting as tax cattle for the ruling class. But if the rats ever understood that their own minds are what keeps them on the hamster wheel that makes the ruler's gravy train possible, then the illusory world of government would crumble and we could get on with the business of being free and prosperous beyond our imaginations. It's with that reminder as a backdrop that we now turn our attention to Brian Tyler Cohen's last video entitled Chuck Todd Goes Viral with Perfect Response to Trump Rally. As of the recording of my video, Cohen's video was released only 15 hours ago and has amassed over 588,000 views. As a matter of fact, pretty much every video he uploads goes viral. If you look at his channel stats, his numbers are off the charts. And for a one-man show, he's averaging over 16 million views a month. Pretty impressive. So why is he so popular? Why is he all of a sudden getting so many views? Because that's exactly what happens to channels that feed into the left versus right dog and pony show. People love this WWE pick a political side and hate the other side crap. It's all cancerous statism, but people eat it up like it's candy. So here's the first part of this last video from Cohen.
Welcome back. Tonight in 2020 Vision, President Trump held a campaign rally in Minnesota last night. There are parts of it we can't show you, or rather, there are parts of it we're not going to show you. The president's red meat vitriol wasn't new. Neither was his use of profanity, or his railing against the media, or his attacks on Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, or his anger at the, quote, insane impeachment witch hunt. None of that should go unremarked on, because the idea that the president of the United States is doing all of those things on a regular basis is actually quite remarkable. We're just not shocked anymore. And the fact that we now expect the president to act that way when he's in front of a crowd of his supporters, that's also remarkable, not unremarkable.
You guys know me. I'm not a Trump supporter. All politicians have been bought and paid for by the Zionist banking elite long ago. But what's remarkable to me about what Chuck Todd is saying here is that people like him are so quick to abandon their humanity, extinguish their conscience, and work for Mockingbird corporate media, which specializes in facilitating the distribution of government poison. That's what's remarkable. They even play into the soap opera while claiming to refuse to air the soap opera.
But what is even more remarkable about what happened at last night's Trump rally is that the president went further than he's ever gone before. So we are going further than we've ever gone before to say we aren't going to play the sound. We aren't going to repeat the president's vicious attacks on Hunter Biden.
Vicious attacks on cocaine-snorting, energy knowledge deficient son of a corrupt vice president who worked for a foreign energy company known for widespread corruption? And that's putting it nicely. When you come against a criminal, you're not attacking that criminal, you're exacting justice.
The President of the United States stood in front of a crowd of supporters and character assassinated a man. Whatever you might think of his decisions, he's not a public figure, he isn't running for office, and he's not a campaign surrogate.
As though any of those things matter? Corruption is corruption, and it doesn't matter who did it. In this case, though, it just so happens to be a vice president's son.
He's not even on the campaign trail, and he isn't in any way asking for this attention, obviously. Look, we are going to tell you that the president's attack on Hunter Biden is remarkable, and it's newsworthy. But we can't in good conscience amplify those attacks, so we won't.
Good conscience and mainstream media makes about as much oxymoronic sense as tight slacks, clearly misunderstood, found missing, and seriously funny.
We will simply tell you that it happened, and it seemed to cross a line, another line. Politics ain't beanbag, but it isn't supposed to be this either. We all need to play a role in not rewarding this kind of politics.
There aren't levels of politics. There's only one kind of politics. The lying kind, the dishonest kind, the corrupt kind. All politics is a fabrication. It's a smokescreen. It's a lie, an illusion. So Chuck Todd and his crew are going to determine which lies they'll show you and which lies they won't? How nice of the CIA-controlled media to protect us like this. Politics is and has always been the clever and deceptive art of using euphemisms, lies, emotionalism, and fear-mongering in order to dupe average people into accepting and even demanding their own enslavement. And mainstream is just the propaganda arm of politics.
It's not just the press. This is the job of anyone who has sworn an oath to defend the Constitution.
And that is freaking hilarious coming from a guy who works for a corporation that's always looking to censor people, just like they did here. Hey Chuck, you just censored what Trump said and hid it from your viewers. Now they're going to look for Trump's speech somewhere else. By the way, if you want to see that speech that Chuck's talking about, let me know in the comments section and we'll go over it. What Chuck just said is also hilarious because these people are the tip of the sword when it comes to stripping us of our rights. Specifically, the right to keep and bear arms without infringement. These people have absolutely no conscience. And here's Cohen's skewed take.
Well, it took more than 3 years and 12,000 lies, but the mainstream media has finally figured out how to deal with Trump's fire hose of unrelenting BS coming out of his rallies.
Of course Trump's a liar and a BSer. Who's shocked about that? That's every politician at every rally. It's not just Trump.
And that's not to broadcast it, not to simply hand him a platform from which he can spread misinformation and malign innocent people to deflect attention away from himself. Because rest assured, this has been Trump's strategy from the start, to take whatever he was guilty of and project it onto others.
Which is what all politicians do all the time. It's crazy that people don't see this and want to comfort themselves by trying to convince others that this somehow only applies to Trump. Again, that's all politicians all the time.
He claimed the Russians tried to help the Democrats win.
They did.
He claimed Hillary Clinton tried to rig the 2016 election.
She did. Ask Bernie and any one of his supporters. Everybody knows it. Even Liz Warren. This guy has his head stuck so far up his anti-Trump ass that he can't see straight.
The list goes on and on. I mean, this guy is a clinic in projection. If you ever want to know exactly what crimes Donald Trump has committed, just listen to whatever accusations he pins on everyone else.
That can be accurately said of every politician ever. That's the reason people become politicians, because they're expert narcissistic psychopaths and blame shifters. That's who politicians are. That's what politicians do. Did this guy just fall off the turnip truck?
Granted, Trump knows that everything he says is BS, but he isn't saying these things for himself. He's saying them for his low information audience.
And there it is. The broad brush slam of all Trump supporters. That they're a low information audience while he himself demonstrates his own low information IQ.
He relies on this toothpaste out of the tube approach wherein Trump will spew as many lies as he can, knowing that once he's said it, the damage is already done.
Again, he just described all politicians.
He did it when he lied about Obama not being born in America, when he said millions of undocumented immigrants voted in 2016, because despite the fact that journalists came out after the fact and disproved his absurd claims, those listening at the time believed him. And most people aren't checking his claims against PolitiFact when they get home from his rallies.
Now that right there is hilarious, as though PolitiFact was an unbiased, ironclad source of truth about politics. That's how deep this guy is in the weeds.
And so it's become the media's responsibility to not just report what he said, not just blindly stream his lies, but push back. And we've witnessed this more and more, such as when MSNBC's Nicole Wallace cut in to fact-check Trump in real time.
I'm going to look all of this up. One other thing, I'm just going off certain notes and elements of what we've been doing over the last 3 days, but this just came up a few minutes ago.
We hate to do this, really, but the president isn't telling the truth. These allegations against Joe Biden and Hunter Biden that he's repeating have been investigated by the Ukrainians, none other than the Wall Street Journal included in their report on Friday.
So what you have here is a group of corporate liars fact-checking a political liar and cross-referencing another publication filled with liars, all packaged neatly in one video by a YouTube liar.
That the Ukrainians view this issue as having been investigated and adjudicated. And what's amazing is that what Trump appears to be trying to do is to turn his own impeachment into a big deflection.
Yeah, he's trying to change the story. I think we should say two things. First of all, the question on the table here is not about Joe Biden. It's not about Chris Murphy or any other senators he's talking about. It's not about the whistleblower. It's about his conduct and whether his conduct as president is impeachable or not, whether it amounts to misconduct. But as it relates to Joe Biden, it's important to note that this story has been looked at and thoroughly debunked by everyone involved. Joe Biden's son served on the board of a Ukrainian company. That Ukrainian company was investigated by the Ukrainian Attorney General. That investigation was closed before Joe Biden ever asked for the Attorney General to be fired. And the reason Joe Biden asked for the Attorney General to be fired, he wasn't speaking on behalf of himself or his son. He wasn't even speaking on behalf of the Obama administration. He was speaking on behalf of the West at large. The IMF wanted him gone.
The IMF wanted him gone.
The IMF wanted him gone.
If the United States political parasites and the International Monetary Fund wanted this guy gone, chances are he wasn't a corrupt guy. It's pretty sobering to watch all these zombies spewing nonsense.
Other Western governments wanted him gone because this Attorney General was known to be corrupt. That's why Joe Biden pushed for him to be outed. It had nothing to do with his son, and everyone that's looked at it has confirmed that.
And when necessary, when it's reached a point where nothing he says is rooted in reality, it then becomes the media's responsibility to not air it at all. And that's where we are right now. Because the fact is that Trump is so hell-bent on taking the attention away from himself in the Ukraine scandal that he'll destroy everything in his path to find a scapegoat. He's attacked Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and Adam Schiff and the whistleblower and even thrown Rick Perry under the bus. The problem is, for the first time, none of his attacks are sticking. And that's because his crime is so basic, so simple that even those in his own party can't defend him. Trump withheld military aid to Ukraine, then asked Ukrainian President Zelensky for a favor to investigate Biden. Zelensky agreed, and then Trump released the military aid.
What a nice, unsubstantiated way to piece together your own story. This guy must be taking cues from Adam Schiff for brains. That's about enough for right now. If you want to see that Trump segment where he's blasting Omar, there's some nuggets we can uncover in that. Just let me know in the comments section below. Guys, don't forget to share this video. It's the only way I can beat YouTube's censorship algorithms. I'll see you in the next heavily censored shadow ban video. Before you go, check out our new shirt designs in the shirt store. Here's the Beta Hates America design. Hell no, you're not taking my AR-15. And nobody needs an AR-15. Well, nobody needs a whiny little bitch either. And yet, here you are. And against all enemies, Democrat and Republican. There are over 90 other kick-ass designs in the store and the links in the description. Your purchase supports the message of freedom on this channel. If you get something out of this content, help me beat YouTube's censorship algorithms by liking and sharing this video. And while you're here, why not watch a couple more of my videos? Until next time, stand firm, stay vigilant, and for the sake of all that is right and good, stop giving your rights away to tyrannical psychopaths who want to destroy this country.